People often ask me, what are INEOS doing with Manchester United? How is it that they own such a small percent of the club, yet they seem to be completely in charge? Well, INEOS are in charge, and they have been since the start of 2024. Sir Jim Ratcliffe worked for a long time to cut a deal which looked very, very complicated to outsiders. But very early on in that stage, somebody said to me, Jim loves to do a deal. And he's managed to do a deal, which seems baffling even to people who know far more about finance and company structuring than I do. So INEOS own 25, 26, 27% of Manchester United. And that's going up. I think it goes up to 29%. So where's the rest? Well, it's the Glazers are still owning the majority. So if they own the majority, why aren't they having the final say on things? Well, that's because they don't want to. Because the Glazers have overseen the final say at Manchester United since 2005. And have they done it well? Well, not really. I think even they accept that while they might be competent at running an American football team, and the way they're viewed in Tampa Bay by fans is very different to how they're viewed by Manchester United fans, to running a football team is very different. So INEOS have come in and said, look, we'll just run it. And at first that seemed like the football side of things, but what is happening is it's looking like every side of things, because INEOS are making changes to staff which are not directly related to the football. And by that I mean not just the staff at Carrington, in the football department. Clearly if you work at a football club, there's some correlation with working towards what goes on the pitch, but they've got complete control. And when you're seeing stories leak or break about Sir Jim Ratcliffe firing off an email saying that part of this is not tidy enough, or you no longer are allowed to work from home, that shows that they're in complete control. And what do the Glazers think of this? Well, they just sat back. They can sit back because they can afford to sit back, because if Manchester United is successful, then the dividends and the profits, etc., would continue to come in. More so if they're successful, because the club have not been successful. If you think that when the Glazers took over, under Fergie it continued to be successful, but we all know what has happened since that point. So the team needs to be improved. And INEOS have brought in their own people to do that. They've made significant changes among all the senior staff at Manchester United. Not one or two. Every week I'm reporting on a story or talking about a story because a senior person has left. So in the last couple of weeks, Cliff Beattie, Patrick Stewart, who'd been the club's legal counsel for a long time, and then caretaker executive after Richard Arnold stepped down, John Murtagh. John could have stayed, but in a lesser role, and there's likely to be more changes as well. Will that include the manager? We don't know. I've not had any evidence that has been decided. Clearly that's dependent on results as well. And INEOS then bring their own people in. So on the 13th of July, Omar Barada will join as the leading executive. So Dave Brailsford has been in and about Carrington and Old Trafford since that deal was cut. I suspect he will pull back and not have a public role. He will have fed all of his thoughts into how Manchester United can be improved, how it can be more of an elite sporting environment, and they'll bring in other people. Jason Wilcox, I think his focus will be on youth development and hopefully working with people like Nick Cox and Darren Fletcher. And then the level below, INEOS will bring their own people in, because it happens in football, whether managers bring their own coaches in, and it happens in business as well. And that's what they do. They've got a very particular way of running a company, and in their mind, they do it exceptionally well. It's one reason why Sir Jim Ratcliffe has become the richest man in the United Kingdom. It wasn't because he inherited it, because his father was landed gentry and owned half of Cheshire. It's because he worked his backside off and came out of a working class background in North Manchester, went to a grammar school, and he's seen opportunities. And I think when you see him talk, he speaks with great clarity and great authority as well. And he's not for everybody, but when I'm judging him in relation to Manchester United, I'm actually quite encouraged. And even when he goes and talks to staff, I think he genuinely wants to improve Manchester United. Firstly, as a football team, which has been underachieving, and secondly, with the infrastructure of the club. So that that biggest of tickets. I'm not going to give you a full lowdown on Old Trafford because I've done that on a previous video, but it is the reason why he's meeting senior people, why a task force has been set up, why you're seeing Keir Starmer at Old Trafford. He's likely to be the next British Prime Minister. He's already got friends in high places. But if there's going to be a redevelopment of Old Trafford or a new stadium, it's not just going to be a stadium. It's going to be for all the area around me. So he's taking on a lot. And this isn't a young whippersnapper. This is someone in his 70s. So time is of the essence. He's clearly got deep pockets to do that. So that's one big advantage over the Glazers. He's not going to be using all Manchester United's money. And I think that most fans are behind what INEOS are trying to do. But fans don't remain patient for long. And that's the one thing that Jim Ratcliffe has asked for, patience. And fans will make judgments on results. And in an ideal world, Manchester United start next season by winning and winning and winning. It's unlikely. Eric Ten Hag has said this isn't a team that's going to be winning the league next year. And some fans said, well, how can you say that? Well, it's just being realistic, isn't it? But I think it's not unreasonable to hope for a significantly better season than the one Manchester United have had with all of the injuries. And I think we will continue to see INEOS flexing their muscles. I think they're going to trim the workforce down. You're going to have staff leaving because they don't like what's going on, and you're going to have others who are engaged by what's going on, who are emboldened by it and think, bring it on, I want change here, I want improvement here, I'm sick of working at a football club that's not doing as well as it should be doing. And that's exactly what INEOS want, and they have a particular way of doing things, and they are removing some privileges which were kept for staff by the Glazers, which staff appreciated. So not all staff are feeling absolutely fantastic about INEOS at the moment. Maybe you could call these growing pains. Maybe this is what's needed. Maybe people needed to kick up the backside. I'm hearing both sides of the story, if I'm honest. I'm hearing some genuine complaints from people, and I'm also hearing people say, bring change on. This is what was needed. So when Omar Barada comes in on the 13th of July, that's when I think we're really going to start seeing changes. Dan Ashworth is someone I should mention. It is probable it's going to join Manchester United, but I can't say he definitely will until the contracts have been signed. He's someone with a very good reputation within football. He's going to want to make changes. He's going to want to make improvements as well. And they all are. They're all going to work together and hopefully bring about that. And we all want that as well, but it's going to be really difficult. We've seen some amazing football managers come in here and struggle. It's not just a manager that can change Manchester United. We're seeing a whole team of people coming in now. Does it then lead to the Glazers exiting from Manchester United? I don't know the answer to that. I just don't know. On one hand, I'm thinking, why should they leave when they've got a cash cow? They made an investment in 2005 and it turned out to be financially an incredible one for them. So why should they leave? On the other, it's difficult to work out how they can have complete power, as in INEOS, and not have complete control. I'm told that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's relationship with the Glazers is a genuinely good one. That's not just a public one. And he said when he met the media that he didn't want legal papers to be coming out of that bottom drawer. I think they're absolutely going into the deal with the best of intentions, and it's going to be difficult. And it's going to be needed, those good intentions, because turning this football club around is not going to be easy at all. So that's my understanding of where we are with INEOS and with Manchester United.